both the single and the album became, I mean, like chart monsters. And I noticed that, in fact, Bohemian Rhapsody won an award the other day for one of the best compositions.
BPI thing.
Yeah, for over the past 25 years.
Mm.
The pressure then on the group must have been immense to do the follow-up album, which was A Day at the Races.
True. I think people will obviously, no matter how hard you try, will think of in terms of your past hits. That's inevitable. But I think it's up to the group and the musicians to really think in other terms. From my point of view, I mean, as far as the writing side of it was concerned, I really thought, I said, okay, Bohemian Rhapsody, big hit. But as far as my writing abilities were concerned, I think I could write better anyway. Mm. And I just looked at it from that point of view. I mean, I just went and wrote, from my estimation, I think a song like Somebody to Love is, in my estimation, a better sort of, from the writing aspect, a better song, you see. But I mean, it's very difficult because obviously people think of sort of songs in terms of hits, obviously, right. And then they will obviously say, well, Somebody to Love was not as good a song because it wasn't as big a hit. But it really depends on how you look at it. Mm. From my point of view, I think my writing ability is getting better.
Well, I remember virtually this time last year, or actually it was a little bit earlier, and I was over here, and you were slightly down and depressed, the fact that you were spending all your time in the recording studios, locked away, in fact, you said, you know?
Yes, that's true. We're still getting bills from from the day of the races. I think we decided from the start of this album, even from the onset of actually writing the material, that we weren't going to spend as much time in the studios, because I think we've done to death the sort of multi-tracking harmonies and the lavish productions and things. I think we've done it with Night of the Opera and Day of the Races, certainly. And I just think we felt that we needed a change, right. Anyway, from the writing aspect as well. And so I think we wanted a much fresher and a sort of raw approach to songs.
Which brings us to the new album, News of the World. The title itself is sort of almost intriguing. The fact of being sort of a name from a well-known classy paper.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But what's more intriguing of hearing the album, and so the single itself, titled We Are the Champions, the lyrics in We Are the Champions could almost be read in many ways.
Well, you tell me, what do you think?
Well, the first time I heard it and I looked at the lyrics, I wasn't sure, because after Bohemian Rhapsody and Night of the Opera, and then it got to The Day at the Races, which wasn't as big a album as perhaps everyone was expecting it to be. But looking, and there was a fair amount of criticism, I didn't quite know whether We Are the Champions was a sort of a subtle thing of saying, well, you may think, you know.
I think we always write songs like that. It really is up to the listener to make up its interpretation. I think it's nice. I think up to now, I think even now, it's got to a stage where we do it subconsciously, you know. I mean, and we write, especially my songs. I mean, they don't state very categorically. I mean, they're very sort of, they can go into different sort of areas, and I like that actually. I mean, it's a nice escape for me from the writer's point of view, but I think from the listener's point of view, it's nice that they can make up different interpretations. So basically, if you ask me what it's all about, I would say it is tongue-in-cheek, and it's not to be taken too seriously. I mean, my God, I can't be serious.
No.
You know, it's something that I wanted to write a song that was very cold and calculated, and kind of to the point. And basically, it was a song of sort of participation. I wanted people to sort of participate. I was looking at it from the sort of the show point of view as well, how we were going to sort of do that. And I just thought, why... I wasn't going to sort of beat around the bush. I thought I'm going to be as blatant as possible.
Well, can I just interrupt there? Yeah. I remember also you saying last year that was sort of like being... You might as well be in a jail the time you were spending in the studios. And I notice here you've said, I've done my sentence but committed no crime, and bad mistakes I've made a few.
Theatrical. That's all very theatrical.
Right. And then it keeps going, and then it says, which... This probably makes a lot of people think, I've taken my bows and my curtain calls. You brought me fame and fortune and everything that goes with that. I thank you all. But it's been no bed of roses.
Yeah. It's my way of saying that to a lot of people, I mean, that's like, a lot of people think being a rock and roll star is kind of going to a studio, making a disc, and then going around spending all the money, which I don't think it is. And I know that a lot of people do realize that, but even at the same time, a lot of people don't. They think it's a very easygoing life, and I mean, like, a lot of people still think when I say, "Oh, we're going to America for a tour," they think, "Oh, nice long holiday," and that's just my way of saying that it's not easygoing. I mean, God, I mean, don't for one minute think that it's all peaches and cream.
Well, I find
There's
it
no bed of roses.
I find it intriguing then.
It's hard work.
That suddenly, I mean, like this album, and I don't know what yourself or John or Roger or Brian were anticipating, but suddenly this album's only been out a day or so. It's already broken into the albums chart in England. It's got rave reviews in America so far, of the people that have heard it. The single is just becoming a giant.
It's working for us. We're very pleased, actually.
Yeah.
It's nice. I think it's a very good step for us, because we're moving away from what people thought. I mean, they thought there's going to be another Marx Brothers title.
Yeah.
There's going to be another very overproduced album. And I think they're in for a shock, because, I mean, a lot of it sounds very different. And it's very interesting from our point of view, because I don't want to sort of churn out the same old formula or the successful formula. I mean, I don't particularly want to sort of write a whole load of rhapsodies, you know? And it's very interesting for me to write songs like Get Down, Make Love, which is sort of something that we're not used to doing. So it's interesting from our point of view. And if it comes out okay, it's great, you know, something new.
Now, may I ask you a couple of pertinent questions?
Oh, what are they?
The first one being like one of the world's top groups, and
how nice.
living in a country, well, I mean, it's true.
You're going to ask me about taxis, go on.
No, I'm not.
Thank God.
Living in London, with the punk rock craze coming along,
What's that?
does it become a challenge, you know, in the sense where you're finding these amazing contrasts, and like you'll find the punk rock writers who will follow a certain stream and may try to put down the established top world acts of today? I mean, is it a challenge to you and the rest of the guys?
It's always been a challenge. It doesn't matter what, even if there is a new movement, or call it what you want, there's always a challenge. I mean, take for example the charts today. I mean, at the moment, I feel there's enormous competition with just the established acts. I mean, there's ELO, there's ABBA, there's Rod Stewart. So, I mean, you know, there's always competition, and we're never going to sort of... I'm never one for resting on my laurels, really, because I always know there's that competition, and that's what keeps us, you know, keeps the driving force there. Well, but with the new stuff, I think it's all healthy. I think there's always going to be a kind of a new movement, because, I mean, that's how we started.
Can I be bold to say that then I think it almost brings the cunning out in you? I think you almost enjoy it.
Oh, yes. I mean, the day where we sort of say that, well, we're the greatest or whatever. I mean, there you are. We're the champions. I mean, it's not meant to be taken.
But one could almost look at it that way as well.
Yeah. I mean, we certainly haven't hit our peaks. I mean, there's always... You've got to keep going. I think there's so much we still have to do. So I think the competition is always there. And whether there be a punk rock movement or call it what you like, it's all there.
Now, may I tick you off, just you and the rest of the group off?
Right.
Just in this one sense, where you've done 2 amazing television specials, in the sense that they're in the can, especially the Hyde Park concert. And like, I was lucky enough to be in London and see the concert. But really, the rest of the world awaits to see Queen and Hyde Park on video and television.
I think everybody's...
The rumour is that the reason it's being held up is that they're waiting for Queen to go in and edit it.
Who told you that? No, actually, what is being done at the moment is we're doing a sort of, I think, an hour to an hour and a half long documentary. I don't know if I told you that. And that's where I think that's going to be very good for us, because I think a lot of people have been waiting to actually not just see little spasmodic...
Which we did see as far as the singles stuff was concerned.
Yeah, I think people now want to see a more in-depth sort of thing on Queen. And I think a documentary is really inevitable now. And we're sort of working on it right now. So, I mean, I think the release date is set for February in this country. Yeah. And then ultimately it's going to go all over the world. So I think it's going to be much more sort of, much more in keeping of what we're doing, rather than sort of see the odd promo films.
Well, can I congratulate yourself and Brian and John and Roger on a great album
Well, thanks very much.
and,
You know,
and a good single. And all I can say is thanks for being on Countdown, and you've got to come down to Australia soon.
Will do.
Thanks very much, Freddie.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes.
45-1.